Hi, this is Sherry Code again, Queen Yoga Bee, and today we're going to talk about bracing and spacing and why it's important to protect your back. Um, Obviously, if you're a weightlifter and you didn't brace yourself before you pick the weight up or any heavy weight, you're going to hurt your back. Spacing is creating some space, obviously, between the bottom of your ribs and that iliac crest. So you try to stay in neutral, not here, yeah, and not overarching. So it's all about bracing and spacing. We're going to practice bracing and spacing first. So I want you to put your fingers on the top of that iliac crest and your thumbs on the bottom of your ribs. And so what I want you to do is see if you can create some space. So be just sitting like couch potato person. Oh yeah. And then you're going to straighten and feel that space created. So that's pretty much a neutral spine. I'm not trying to go way back and tip my pelvis forward. So the fingers that are left, I'm going to put on my lower abs, up where my fancy waistband is. And I'm going to brace. So bracing is not rock hard, but it's firm. So I'm going to press my core out toward my fingers till I feel something happening. It doesn't have to be rock hard, it's just firm. So that's bracing. So now we know what spacing and bracing is, and we're going to do some core on the floor poses. And everybody can do these. They are not poses that my advanced students do because they already have the endurance and the strength to do the full poses. But I think it's important, even for advanced students, to back up and feel what's happening. So I want everybody to join in if possible. The first pose I'm going to have you do is a low locust pose. So I will show you sideways, low locust. A lot of advanced yogis will extend their arms in that superwoman pose or superman. I don't do that because of my weaker lower back. So what I'm going to do is press my backs of my hands into the mat and just raise my feet and my torso a bit. You don't have to go any higher than this till you feel something happening. So let's try it again. And this time I want to think about the space I'm creating. I'm not trying to get a big arched back. And I'm going to think about bracing. So think about the space and think about how you brace. And before you lift your feet and your head off the mat, I want you to brace just a bit, then lift. You feel the difference. Okay, so that's your locust pose. Pretty easy, kind of. So the next one I'm going to have you do is a modified boat. You're going to lean back on your hands. So you can be on your forearms. I think this is the easier still than being here, but it depends on you, I guess. So what I'm going to do in this boat pose is just lift my feet. So that's pretty much it. If this is too easy for you, you can extend your legs. If it's too hard, you can lean back a little bit further. So that we didn't think about spacing and bracing on that, so now we are. We're trying to keep this in neutral. I don't want to do this, and I don't want to overarch. So keeping this in neutral, I'm going to lean back. I'm in neutral. I'm going to brace before I lift my feet. So I'm just making my part here firm and then lift. That's going to protect your spine. So you can stay there as many breaths if you wish. The next one is forearm side plank. So I always start in forearm side plank, even though I think it's way harder than full side plank, but whatever. Easiest version of forearm side plank is to have your knees bent at 90 degrees, and this hand is parallel to the short part of your mat, and all I'm going to do is lift. So let's try it again and do the spacing. Think about the space. So I don't want to be here. I'm trying to have equal space on both sides. And then I'm going to brace. Think about making it firm and then up. Now you can be here, you can hang on here, you can even let your hand help. So that's the easiest version. A little bit harder, I'm too long for this mat, is to make your legs one in front of the other. You can have your hand on your hip. Remember to think about the space and the brace before you go up, and hold as long as you can. You can also stack your feet. Same thing. I don't usually do this as a moving pose. Let's see. Oh, say you have trouble with something in your shoulder, you're still on do plank pose. I'm not going to stand up because you're going to lose me on the screen, but you can lean against the wall. Standing up sideways, lean against the wall. You can even lift one foot. If you want to get fancy with this forearm side plank, you can also lift your top foot. All of them are things you should be able to do before you try to do full plank or full side plank, which involves being on a straight arm. So your next pose is balance cat, and that's why I have my mat like this so you can see what's going on, but only in the last version. So balance cat, my spine is in neutral. I'm not here, and I'm not in that cow sway back. And then I'm going to brace just enough so that I can get my leg up. I'll put my right leg up. So I don't want my leg to go higher than my bum. And sometimes here is all that you can muster. That's okay. So that's version number 1. Version number 2 would be opposite arm and leg. So I like to flex my hand and my foot, but that's just me. If you think that's too intense, you don't have to do it. Try not to have your hand any higher than your shoulder. And again, your foot is no higher than your bum. So the next version of this would be one hand, one opposite arm and leg. Oh, awkward. So this one is called, it's awkward airplane or awkward balance cat. So this time I'm going to use opposite arms and legs, and this arm is going to go out this way, and this leg is going to go out this way. Not the most comfortable for me, but it takes a lot of balance. If you really want to get fancy, you can move this guy and you can move this guy simultaneously without falling on your face would be nice. So those 4 poses you can repeat over and over again, both sides obviously, for as long as you want. I recommend doing more reps and not holding them longer until you feel like your endurance is really up there. Once you feel like you're ready, then hold them for longer times, maybe even up to a minute, depending on your strength and your core. But I don't want you to hurt your back, so that's why we practice bracing and spacing. Eventually, you'll be able to do Superman locust, maybe, full boat, maybe, and even full planks with your arms straight, and we'll talk about that another time. So thank you very much for this short and sweet lesson. Namaste.